Everything we thought we knew is about to change. Just when fans were settling into Amy's new beginning, a twist no one saw coming shakes the ground beneath Hudson. A ghost from the past, a heartbeat once thought silenced, Ty Borden is back. But how? And why now? In Heartland, Season 19, Episode 1, titled Amy's Surprise. The future collides with the past in a way that leaves everyone questioning what's real and what's been kept hidden for too long. Hudson is glowing with the promise of a new season. There's a certain calm in the air, as if life has finally decided to take it easy on Amy. After years of healing, of trying to piece together a life that made sense without Ty, Amy is finally smiling again, and not just for others. Her days at the ranch are peaceful, her bond with horses stronger than ever, and Nathan, the man who's been slowly winning her heart, has become a steady presence. It's not perfect, but it's stable. And that's something Amy hasn't had in a long time. The Fleming-Bartlett family seems to be finding their rhythm again. Lou is back to balancing her political career with motherhood. Katie is still struggling between the artistic future she wants and the roots that bind her to Hudson. And Jack, well, Jack remains the quiet strength behind them all. After everything they've been through, grief, loss, change, it's comforting to see them laugh around the dinner table again. Life is moving forward, and so is Amy. Or so it seems. But this fragile sense of normalcy is hiding something. Little things have started to feel off. Amy has been having dreams lately, vivid ones, of Ty standing at the barn, smiling, saying her name. At first, she chalks it up to memories. After all, grief doesn't follow rules. It comes and goes like waves. But this feels different. Too real. Too timed. As if someone is trying to reach out. She doesn't tell anyone, not even Nathan. Some things are just too strange to say out loud. Then there's the mail. A letter arrives addressed to her. No return address, no sender's name, just 2 words written in familiar handwriting. Forgive me. Amy freezes. The handwriting, it's almost identical to Ty's. But that can't be. Ty's gone. She saw it. She lived it. She buried him in her heart and survived the ache. So who is messing with her? Or is it even possible? As Amy tries to push the thought away, the tension between her and Nathan starts to build. He senses something's wrong, but Amy's not ready to explain what she doesn't understand herself. Nathan, already feeling insecure about being in Ty's shadow, takes Amy's silence personally. Old wounds between them resurface. And just when things seem to be mending, Gracie, Nathan's sister, returns to Hudson, and she's not here for a family visit. She's here to stir the pot. Gracie's cold demeanor and veiled hostility don't go unnoticed. She's never approved of Nathan being with Amy. In her eyes, Amy is still emotionally tied to the past, still clinging to a memory that overshadows their future. And the more Amy starts to question the strange signs around her, the more Gracie uses it to her advantage, planting seeds of doubt in Nathan's mind. Why is Amy so distracted? Why can't she let go? Meanwhile, Lou starts noticing strange activity around the ranch. A man spotted at the edge of the property line late at night. A car parked along the old trail road. Caleb even mentions that someone asked him odd questions in town. Questions about Amy, her daughter, and the ranch. It seems random at first, but then Jack receives an anonymous phone call, and all the caller says is, "Tell Amy he's not gone." Jack tries to keep the message from her, fearing the emotional fallout. But secrets never last long in Heartland. Amy finds out, and she demands answers. Who called? Why? Is this some kind of cruel game? Or is it real? And so begins the unraveling. Episode 1 doesn't waste a second. It starts with warmth, family, and hope. But as the minutes tick by, it becomes clear that something bigger is unfolding. Amy isn't just facing the ghosts of her past. She's about to come face to face with the truth. A truth that could change everything she thought she knew about love, loss, and Ty Borden. The days in Hudson start to feel heavier. The warmth of late summer is still in the air, but for Amy, something has shifted. It's not just her dreams anymore. It's the moments in between. Quiet footsteps behind her, the fleeting scent of Ty's cologne, the way Lindy points at old pictures of her father and says, "He was here." A child's innocence, so often dismissed, now carries a weight Amy can't ignore. She starts to wonder, could her daughter feel something she can't explain? Despite her growing confusion, Amy tries to focus on the present. She pushes herself harder at the ranch, hoping work will drown out the storm in her heart. But even the horses seem restless. There's one in particular, an older gelding brought in by a nearby rancher, who refuses to respond to anyone but Amy. The way he looks at her, the way he calms when she speaks, it's eerily familiar, like he knows something, like he's been waiting for her. It unsettles her more than she cares to admit. Nathan notices the change in her behavior. His patience, once endless, begins to wear thin. He questions her late-night rides, her distracted silences, and the way she stares at the photo of Ty and Lindy for minutes at a time. When he finally confronts her, asking if she's still in love with a ghost, Amy snaps. Not because she's angry, but because she doesn't have the answers either. Her world, which had just begun to feel whole, is cracking under the weight of a mystery she never asked for. Meanwhile, Jack and Lisa take it upon themselves to dig deeper into the anonymous phone call. Jack, ever the protector, visits an old friend at the Hudson RCMP to trace the number. What he finds shakes him to his core. The call was made from a remote cabin property located 2 hours from Hudson, a property that once belonged to an old wilderness guide and that had recently been rented under a fake name. But when Jack sees the lease papers, the signature chills his blood. T. Borden. Lisa begs him not to jump to conclusions, but Jack can't let it go. He doesn't believe in ghosts, but he believes in signs. And everything points to one truth. Someone wants Amy to believe Ty is alive. Whether it's real or a cruel trick, they need to find out. Back at the ranch, Amy finally opens the second envelope that arrived a few days later, which she had hidden in her nightstand. Inside is a photograph. Faded, grainy, but unmistakable. It's the barn at sunrise, and standing at its edge, barely visible, is a figure. Tall, familiar, wearing Ty's old jacket. Her hands tremble. This isn't her imagination. Someone is out there. Lou gets involved, alarmed by Amy's distress. She wants to call the police, but Amy refuses. If there's even the slightest chance that Ty is out there, she wants to find him first, on her own terms. Not as a media story, not as a case number, but as a woman searching for the man she once loved. Torn between the past and the present, Amy decides to follow her instincts. She prepares to ride out to the cabin Jack uncovered. She doesn't tell anyone, except for Caleb. Out of everyone, she trusts him to understand without judgment. Caleb insists on going with her, and although hesitant, she agrees. They leave at dawn, taking a long, quiet trail through the woods to avoid being followed. The journey to the cabin is filled with unspoken questions. Caleb tries to keep things light, but Amy can barely breathe. What if it's true? What if Ty is alive? What if everything she believed, the pain, the grief, the goodbye, was built on a lie? And worse, what if he's out there but doesn't want to be found? When they reach the clearing, the cabin comes into view. It's small, secluded, surrounded by tall trees that hush the wind. No smoke from the chimney, no sign of life. Amy's heart pounds in her chest as she slowly approaches. Caleb hangs back, letting her move forward alone. Every step feels like walking through a dream she's not ready to wake up from. She places her hand on the doorknob. It's cold. The door creaks open. Inside, it's quiet, dusty, but not abandoned. There are boots by the door, a mug on the table, a photograph pinned to the wall, Lindy, smiling, her drawing of a horse in the background. Amy's eyes blur with tears. She turns, heart racing, and sees the journal. Her hands shake as she opens it. Page after page of familiar handwriting. Notes about the ranch, about Lindy, about her. The last entry reads, "Tomorrow. I'll see her tomorrow." Before she can process the words, a floorboard creaks behind her. Someone is there, but before Amy can turn around, the screen cuts to black. The silence is so loud, Amy can hear her heartbeat echo through the room. She doesn't turn immediately. Part of her is too afraid that it's all in her head, that the creak behind her is just the cabin settling, that the journal is a cruel trick. But then, another sound. A breath. A step. Slow, measured, real. Amy turns, and there he is, Ty Borden, standing just feet away, aged by time but unmistakably him. The man she buried in her heart, the man the world mourned, is alive. There are no words, not from her, not from him. For a moment, it feels like the world itself stops spinning. Tears blur her vision, disbelief flooding her entire body. She stumbles back slightly, unsure if her mind is playing tricks. But his eyes, they're the same. That softness, that depth, only Ty ever looked at her like that. He whispers her name, Amy. She falls into his arms, but her joy is tangled in shock, in pain, in 1,000 unanswered questions. Why? How? Why now? She pulls back, needing answers, but Ty doesn't speak right away. He leads her to the table and sits her down. Caleb, stunned at the cabin door, doesn't interrupt. He senses the moment is sacred and leaves them to talk. Ty begins to explain, slowly, painfully. After being injured all those years ago, he hadn't died. Not right away. He was taken for emergency treatment at a private trauma facility arranged by someone connected to his past work overseas. There were complications. A coma. Months turned into years. And when he finally awoke, he was disoriented, with partial memory loss. The doctors advised silence until his mind cleared. But when it did, the news he received hit like a tidal wave. Amy had moved on. Lindy was growing up. A new man had stepped into his place. So he stayed away, out of guilt, out of fear. He watched from a distance, never reaching out, until he couldn't bear it anymore. The dreams, the letters, the glimpses of his daughter from afar, they broke him. He had to see Amy again, but not until he was sure she could handle it. Not until he was sure he could face what he'd missed. Amy listens, barely breathing. Her world tilts. She wants to scream, to cry, to kiss him and hit him at the same time. Every emotion she's buried for years erupts at once. But through it all, she keeps coming back to one thing. He's alive. And he never stopped loving her. That's all she needs to know right now. But life, as always in Heartland, doesn't pause for reunions. Back at the ranch, the family begins to worry. Caleb returns without Amy, swearing he's honoring her wishes to keep things quiet. Lou grows suspicious. Jack gets restless, and Nathan knows something is terribly wrong. He's lost Amy emotionally before, but this time, it feels final. And then the storm truly begins. Gracie, digging through ranch records, finds a strange trail of property leases and medical transfers. She follows them out of spite, determined to prove Amy is hiding something. When she finally stumbles upon the cabin, she sees Ty. She snaps a photo, rushes back to town, and tells Nathan. What she doesn't expect is the chaos it unleashes. Nathan is devastated, confused, angry. He thought Amy had let go of Ty, that she had chosen him. But now, everything feels like a lie. Amy returns home shortly after, trying to protect Ty's privacy and her family's peace. But it's too late. Hudson is buzzing with whispers. Is Ty really back? What does this mean for Amy, for Lindy, for everything they've rebuilt? Amy gathers her family at the ranch and tells them the truth. The room is filled with stunned silence. Lou is the first to cry, Jack just bows his head, and Lisa crosses herself. Everyone reacts differently, but one thing is clear. Life will never be the same again. Amy is torn between two worlds, the one she built after loss and the one being resurrected before her eyes. Lindy is brought into the truth gently. When she sees Ty again, her reaction is pure and simple. She hugs him and says, "I knew you weren't gone." That one sentence breaks everyone in the room. Ty breaks down, holding his daughter like it's the first sunrise after years of darkness. But the road ahead won't be easy. Nathan, heartbroken, pulls away from Amy. Gracie, furious that her brother was hurt again, threatens to expose everything to the media. The Fleming Bartlett family is suddenly thrown into a whirlwind of attention, scrutiny, and emotional aftershocks. Still, through the chaos, Amy clings to one truth. Her heart never truly let go of Ty. Even when she tried to move on, something inside her always whispered that their story wasn't over. As episode 1 closes, Amy stands outside the barn at dusk, watching Ty help Lindy with a horse. She breathes in the cool evening air and feels something she hasn't felt in a long, long time. Peace mixed with hope. But as the camera pans back, hidden deep in the woods, someone else watches them from the shadows. A figure unknown. A threat unseen. Ty's return may be the beginning of joy, but it's also the beginning of something darker. Because secrets that stay buried too long eventually come looking for the light. Just when we thought Amy had turned the page, fate flips the book open again. Ty Borden's return isn't just a miracle, it's a storm waiting to break. As Hudson reels from the impossible, hearts are torn between past promises and present truths. Can love lost be love regained, or will the weight of everything left unsaid pull them apart once more? Nathan's heartbreak is still fresh, Gracie's scheming is far from over, and the shadow watching from the woods suggests Ty didn't come back alone or without consequences. Secrets have a way of catching up, no matter how far you run or how long you hide. In the next episode, Amy must make the most impossible choice of her life: follow her heart or protect the family that's only just starting to heal. And Ty? He may have returned to Heartland, but the question still hangs in the air. At what cost? This is only the beginning. Season 19 has arrived, and it's not here to play it safe.